All right, very good, thank you. My name is Steve Levine. I'm president of the Hemp Industries Association. Thank you very much. I'm also director of Vote Hemp, the two nonprofit industrial hemp organizations. Hemp Industry Associations, we call HIA, is a trade association, nonprofit industrial hemp trade association. And Vote Hemp, votehemp.com, is a lobby group focused on hemp farming only. We just want to get the seed in the ground. And that's what Vote Hemp is. And of course, I'm also with Dr. Bronner's. And we, yay, that's right. All organic, all fair trade, all one. All right, we have a great panel. I'm really, really pleased. Anndrea Hermann, Adam Eidinger, George Rohrbacher, Sue Kastensen, and Denny Finneran. Fine. Oh, wow. This is Hall of Fame hempsters. And I'll just let them all talk. And we'll start right away. Anndrea Hermann spoke yesterday, former executive director of the Canadian Hemp Trade Alliance. And here she is, Anndrea Hermann.
All right, so thank you all first for coming out and making time to come visit with us. We're talking just a little bit about economics and hemp, so I thought I'll talk about oilseed production, a little bit on the agronomic side. Right now we have our producers getting about 55 cents a pound for conventional grain. That's clean, herbicide, pesticide, fungicide free for conventional, and about 90 cents a pound for organic. The farmers like working with the crop. There are, of course, some on-site modifications that have to be made, but they're all within due, and any new rigs now that are being made can handle harvesting the crop. So that's nice on the economic side of actually working the crop. Existing foundation already is here stateside to actually start processing for oil, seed crushing, and food making. So those technologies already exist here, so you can get those. And within the food industry, we're seeing growth of over 20% within the companies every year. And that's huge when you're doubling your employees and all of a sudden you're going from what was a staff of 5 to now companies they're running 24/7 with full staffs of 24, 30 people in one facility.
So my name is Adam and I live in Washington, D.C. I work for a group called Vote Hemp. And as Steve was saying earlier, we're trying to get hemp in the ground. What's happening right now is we've got a legal strategy. We have farmers in North Dakota that are currently licensed to grow hemp by the state of North Dakota. It was a big struggle just to get to that point. And once they got there, they don't want to bet the farm, literally, on growing hemp until they have a clear green light from the federal government. Currently, if you live in North Dakota and you try to grow hemp, the DEA will likely show up knocking on your door and will arrest you, and they'll consider every single hemp plant, non-drug hemp plant, actually a marijuana plant. So you'd be like a kingpin with a couple acres of hemp. And David Munson, who is the he's now the Speaker of the House in North Dakota, is the farmer who's licensed to grow hemp. So we have at a pretty high political level support, and there's support in the governor's office, and we've got support in Oregon as well, which just passed its own hemp farming law that's going to result in the licensing of farmers. Now what this means for the economy is, if we can get it in the ground, Dr. Bronner's and other companies, we're talking about hundreds of companies, Crucial Hemp, can possibly still source their raw materials here in the United States. Keep the dollars here, okay? We're the biggest consumers of hemp. The Vote Hemp considers the market for hemp products in the United States to be valued at about $360 million a year. It's very spread out among numerous companies. There isn't just one big company. It's actually many small companies. And these companies are all positioned to grow if they could get better prices on the raw materials, which currently come from China and from Europe. So we go into the halls of Congress, and we basically tell members of Congress the economic situation, that is, this is being held back. And it's currently happening despite being held back. And it's going to go much further if you just let farmers grow the crop. And as soon as one state successfully has a hemp farming law that's actually working, and North Dakota is very close. They're in the federal courts right now trying to keep the DEA off their backs. As soon as that happens, I think you're going to see an explosion of hemp products in the United States, and more products that don't even market themselves as hemp products will have hemp in them. Foods in particular have seen phenomenal growth. Hemp milk is one of the fastest growing sectors of natural products that are available in health food stores. So all that's been happening in the last few years, and now with the new administration, with Barack Obama in the White House, there's a lot of optimism that since he voted for hemp as a state legislator, that he'll actually not be an obstacle to hemp farming in the United States. But we're going to have to push him. That's basically the situation. We have to push him and the rest of the administration and Congress to actually act. I'm going to close with one thought, and that is medical marijuana, recreational marijuana, groups like the Marijuana Policy Project in Washington have a tremendous amount of influence. It's actually, I mean, I don't work for them. I'm saying this as an observer. They really do. They are getting over 100 members of Congress to vote consistently any way they want them to. And it used to have no influence. The hemp issue doesn't have the consumer base that marijuana has. Our market is potential market, whereas the marijuana base is huge, over 30 billion a year, 36 billion I think is the number people say is the value of marijuana in the United States. It makes sense that they would have a bigger lobby working on marijuana and medical marijuana. But our issue is not a drug. We're actually in a way a victim of the marijuana laws, and it's not even a drug. So it's in some ways harder for us to get the kind of momentum. So we're looking at this now, like should we be more closely linked with the advocates for cannabis? And we've had to look at that as a question. And I'll just let it go on from there.
I'm George Rohrbacher. I'm a former state senator here in Washington State. I own and operate a cattle ranch in eastern Washington. I've been farming for, I don't know, since 1973, however many years that is. And as a farmer, I've grown beef and dairy cattle, hogs, corn, wheat, alfalfa, grapes, mint oil, and several other crops. And the reason for that long list is simply because to survive economically, you've got to diversify. Not only do you have crop and disease problems that need crop rotation, but you have pricing cycles on all of these things that are going up and down. And in most cases, you've got no ability to insulate yourself from those. So the strategy is essentially diversify. And I'll tell you what, the American farmer wants to compete in this market. You know, the idea that we've got almost 3 million cars on the road made in America with hemp in the plastic and the door panels like rebar and concrete, and we, the American farmers, haven't grown an ounce of it, is more than an irritant. It affects my patriotism. Why shouldn't I be able to compete when I walk into the health food store and see 95 different products with hemp seed oil, etc. in them, that I can't compete, that I'm locked out of competition. And so, you know, what's already been described here, you know, if we get the opportunity to do it, it's going to take off incredibly. One of the things you have to realize, though, is that the infrastructure to make this happen, and for any part of this to work, it ultimately has to be economically successful. Yeah, it's a great idea, Hemp's going to save the planet and all these other things, but if it doesn't make sense in dollars and cents, it just, in American society, it just doesn't work, ultimately. And the infrastructure that helps agriculture do its work was actually formed in the Second Continental Congress held in 1786, I believe, in Princeton. And one of the things that they did there is they changed the way they surveyed land in America. Land used to be surveyed from this rock to that river to this ridge top. And in that Second Continental Congress, they created